Football, the legendary coach who made Ronaldo unstoppable and dominated world football. Episode 61. Liu Han saw Liu Yi's circle of friends and had 100% confidence in him, which is the infinite charm of charm. In the face of the frenzied attacks and smears of the water army, it is natural not to sit idly by and sit idly by. As a crazy Manchester United fan, now a fan of the Demon King Liu Yi, a famous traffic star in China, Liu Han will take a stand no matter what. His fans are also waiting for him to express their position to see if they are going to rush a wave of Liu Yi. The combat effectiveness of these female fans is very terrible. Liu Han is also very crisp and direct to show his attitude, although he also cooperated with the football committee, donated the stadium or something. But this time, his choice was to go to Myanmar. Liu Han, protect our Demon King Liu Yi. If he is really wrong, Manchester United, such a big club, more than 100 years of history, the famous vampire of the Glazer family, can make Liu Yi a lonely family and a deception. People's law firms and professional teams are not better than you. Guan Xiaotong also forwarded Liu Han's Weibo, and by the way, he also wrote, if Liu Yi can deceive so many people and such a professional organization, then what is he doing badly? Yang Tianbao also published his own comments, not only did not take Liu Yi, but even at Liu Yi in the siege. At Liu Yi, come on, we all support you, I hope to return your innocence as soon as possible. Under the official blog of Longqi Automobile, there are also many water troops and deceived netizens, brushing the news that Liu Yi is a liar in the comment area below. Liu Yi is a liar who has ruined the image of your company, so quickly sue him. Look at the shit spokesperson you chose, this is a direct shame and thrown abroad. Obscure, originally wanted to buy a red flag H9, but met Liu Yi such a dog coin, do not buy. This is already a matter of public opinion. Under normal circumstances, it is necessary to carry out emergency public relations. Longhua FAW Group, the first time held a meeting to discuss this matter. Contact Liu Yi is naturally not contactable, but Liu Yi's circle of friends, there are still people who have seen the content. Since Liu Yi has confidence, then we will firmly stand with him, so that instead of being a bad thing, it can prove the noble quality of our dragon banner, which lies in the action, in the form, and even more in the heart. Under the order of the boss, the part responsible for the dragon flag quickly began to act, first of all, on the official encirclement, to respond to this matter. At 13:20 p.m. Dragon Country time, the official Weibo of Longqi released the news. Thank you for the concern of netizens, because it is still early in the morning in Spain local time, so our Mr. Liu Yi is still sleeping, and he cannot be contacted for a while, but we believe that he will give you a satisfactory answer, and like our Longqi Automobile, we will never let the people of Longhua disappoint. Simply and neatly expressed his support for Liu Yi, so that a group of water troops were confused for a while. Before encountering this kind of thing, the state-owned enterprise unit was not taking the lead in clearing themselves up, and then observing the trend of things. No one expected that the attitude of the Dragon Flag Group would be so firm. For a while, there were a lot of people below, brushing the same content. Dragon flag garbage, don't buy it. The spokesperson of the Dragon Banner is a liar, and the Dragon Banner is also a liar, so don't buy it. As one of the spokesmen of network traffic, it is naturally inevitable to be targeted. The comment section of the previous blog is all about Liu Yi being a liar. If Demimi doesn't take Liu Yi, then I'll take you. Demimi quickly take Guan Liu Yi, he is a liar, he will lie to you. In fact, after talking with Liu Yi in the morning, she wanted to say something, but in order to maximize the effect, she held back until now. Looking at these guys, making waves in their own comment area, where do you not know what is going on? After all, over the years, she herself has used the water army, and she has been a victim of the water army many times. Immediately forwarded a direct message, saying that it was to take her comment. Thank you for your attention over the years, go well and don't send. Then forwarded another one to let her take Liu Yi's, and directly shrugged it back, shut up your ass. Of course, I don't forget to send a separate Weibo, along with a photo of myself wearing Manchester United fans, with a big smile. Unless the police can prove that Liu Yi is a liar, I will always be his fan and support Liu Yi. For a time, there were more people who supported Liu Yi, and everyone quarreled on the internet, which also made this matter more and more hot. Liu Yi and Manchester United fans also support Liu Yi on various platforms. Others simply called the police, explained the current situation, and asked the police to investigate publicly. The police are naturally also concerned about this situation. After all, if Liu Yi is really a liar, then the police really need to intervene, and now someone has called the police to manage this matter. If you want to fight a lawsuit in the future, then this is also important evidence. After calling the police, he called his father again. Liu Jianzhong sighed, like a hot pot ant in his heart. His wife has just woken up from his coma, and his son can't contact him, so this man for a while, don't know how to be good. Even before the police called to learn some specific situation with them, it made him feel uneasy, whether his son had really committed a crime. There are also a lot of media, do not know where to get his phone number, a strong phone call to interview him. There was a reporter before, and the first sentence was, "How do you feel about your son being an international liar?" What feeling? I went to Nyama. Liu Jianzhong directly hung up the phone, blacked out the other party. When I was going to hang up this time, I suddenly saw that it was my son who called, and I was suddenly relieved that I could call over, at least to show that people were fine. Xiaoyi, what's wrong with you? Why don't you answer the phone? Dad, we are 6 or 7 hours earlier than here. When you call I am still in the middle of the night. I was quarreled last night. It was difficult to fall asleep. The phone is muted. Hearing his son say this, Liu Jianzhong was immediately relieved, as long as he did not intentionally lose contact. Then why did the police call? The same the internet does not know who called the police, so they called me and I did not answer. Ask about your situation, did not embarrass you. There is no embarrassment, that is, your mother has been fainted by anger, just woke up, and is still in the hospital. As soon as he heard this, Liu Yi, who had no mood at all, immediately became anxious, and asked a bunch of questions like a cannonball, and after making sure that it was okay, he was completely relieved. However, the small flame in his heart had turned into a burning anger, making his whole person feel as if he was about to explode. After saying 2 words to his mother and hanging up the phone, Liu Yi directly smashed his fist on the wall, causing a clear blood mark on his fist and breaking the skin. Damn, this punch for 30 years of single skill to go down, is simply a blood loss. After calming down, Mendez contacted at the first time, and Mendez and his team had enough experience in dealing with this kind of thing. Liu, to what extent are you going to get? Let the Dragon Football Committee apologize and compensate for the losses, and then let the stupid president apologize, compensate for the losses, and teach them a harsh lesson. Liu, the market in Longwa is so large, the economic losses and reputational losses caused by the committee to you are immeasurable, and I will give you a satisfactory answer. Hanging up the phone with Mendez, Liu Yi also began to think of another thing, really need a domestic agent, so as not to encounter this kind of thing, always busy. The match with Villarreal began at 18:45 local time, and in the morning, the whole Manchester United team stepped on the field, adapting to the ceramic course of the Yellow Submarine in advance to familiarize the venue, formerly known as the Love Song Stadium, a very romantic name. Liu Yi has a calm face, everyone can see that the coach is in a bad mood today, so the stepping on the field is particularly smooth. Even the natural treasure of Lingard, the injured Pogba, did not make a fuss. Boss, what's going on? As the eldest brother, Si Luo took the initiative to care about the physical and mental health of the head coach. But it is not a big deal. Think about Si Ronaldo's treatment in Portugal, the national hero. It is a little enviable. Casually talking about the matter, everyone suddenly expressed their incomprehension and support for Liu Yi. Boss, if your coaching level can't get a coaching certificate, I really don't know what other coaches have to do. Fred respectfully offered himself a compliment. Boss, we all believe in you. Rashford thought for a moment, but didn't come up with any complaints. Lingard's eyes blinked, as if thinking of something, but ultimately didn't say it. Si Luo even directly took out his mobile phone, notified his Longwood team, and released a public message on the Weibo to show support for Liu Yi. Cristiano Ronaldo, my boss Liu Yi, with the world's top technical and tactical level, his coaching certificate will naturally not be fake. There are no fools in the club. Mendez will not simply make an announcement or anything, first called UEFA head of the United States Ceferin to explain his requirements and intentions. UEFA has an obligation to protect its coaches, and since Liu Yi holds UEFA's coaching card, he must take action when he needs their help. Ordinary coaches have been prevaricated, but the call is Mendez, the relationship between Ceferin and Mendez, which naturally goes without saying. In fact, the people who dealt with Mendez rarely hated him, and he tried to make everyone happy under normal circumstances. Rest assured Mendez, we have a perfect mechanism. Liu is definitely a qualified UEFA coaching card holder, these 2 years because of the international special environment, so we have online courses and exam content, some people may not notice. Liu Yi on the training ground stared at the players around him. If you can't win a big victory today, give me a hard training when you go back, don't want me to give you a holiday. The crowd was shocked, and quickly scattered the birds and beasts, lest the coach's anger erupt above their heads. At the same time, I feel sad for Villarreal, who knows what kind of destruction will be waiting for them. Episode 63. Domestic fishing ships are fermenting, and Liu Yi's supporters are relatively small, but they are full of combat effectiveness. But some of the people who smeared him were professional water soldiers, and people specialized in this, that is, no matter how strong the combat effectiveness was, the amateurs could not do other people's professional awe. It is certain that the defeat is certain, but the resistance is also very tenacious. It was not until 11 o'clock in the morning local time in Spain and 18 o'clock in the Dragon Kingdom time that Liu Yi sent a few words on his blog. "I'm angry." No one knows what this means behind this. For people who are familiar with Liu Yi and believe in Liu Yi, it is very normal to be angry, and it is not normal to be angry when this kind of thing happens. For smearing and attacking Liu Yi's water army, you don't care about this at all. What does it have to do with us that you are angry or not? Comments are not closed, and Liu Yi doesn't care about the comments section, but some people do, such as Mendes and his team. Liu Yi has just posted a blog for tens of seconds, and the following comments are like a tidal wave, and without exceptions, the supporters who are crushed can't see it, and can only rely on forwarding to maintain it. "You're angry and have a fart, so turn yourself in." Angry, when you deceive people, why don't you think that people are angry? Shame on people and throw them abroad, you still have a face angry. Dog day stuff, don't let your dad meet you, see you once, and beat you once. The gang scolded Liu Yi brazenly, but they did not expect that someone was collecting this information and taking screenshots of all their content and remarks. According to Mendes's idea, since it has reached this point, why not simply make things bigger and further expand Liu Yi's influence in China? This can represent the interests of and the huge influence, for Liu Yi is also a good protection. Now these people are unscrupulously attacking Liu Yi, that is, they feel that Liu Yi is a lonely man, he does not even have a team, he does not bully him, who else can he bully? At this time, Mendes already has a video recorded by the UEFA head in person, to clarify Liu Yi. Of course, it is also indispensable that the video of Robert, the head of the UEFA referee committee, not only clarifies Liu Yi, but also explains Liu Yi's coaching certificate, and the final exam is the exam paper he personally reads. Coupled with some internal UEFA information, it can be said that the evidence is ironclad. Liu Yi's documents have no problems, which is completely a farce, a slander, and malicious attack on Liu Yi. But now is not the time to shoot. I hope that more clowns jump out and catch a net. Mendes is right, because not only are the cancerous tumors in the football community in the Dragon country who hate Liu Yi to the bone, but there are also some people in the British Football Association who want this kid from the Dragon country to get out. As old imperialist countries, they cannot tolerate a country that was casually bullied in the past, and there are people who are calling the wind and rain in their territory, in the field they are best at. Of course, this is only the idea of some bureaucrats in the British Football Association, and the Premier League is very welcome to Liu Yi, because it means expanding the influence of the Premier League in the Dragon Kingdom. Such a large market, who does not want it? Mark Brindham, who has repeatedly offended Liu Yi before, once again stepped forward and made a statement. Longwa has expressed doubts about Liu's coaching card, and there are many suitable reasons. I suggest that Manchester United temporarily suspend Liu Yi's work and cooperate with the investigation of the relevant departments. Manchester United CEO, Santa Cuco, who has only a few days left, responded directly. "It's our Manchester United business, Mr. Blinham, please respect yourself, you've crossed paths." As the CEO of the Giants, it is so domineering, not only Santa Cuco, but also the CEOs of the Blues, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, etc., still will not give Brenham face. The head of the head began to speak. Maybe everyone is still polite, you are a thing. In the Dragon Kingdom, as the FA official spoke, the media and the relevant personnel of the football committee became more and more arrogant and crazy. The foreigners all think you have a problem, so can you still have no problem? FA officials require Manchester United to remove Liu Yi from his position and cooperate with the investigation. Hashtag FA relevant personnel, I also think Liu Yi has a problem. Hashtag England police have begun investigating Liu Yi. Hashtag British people think Liu Yi is okay, those who think Liu Yi is okay, what else to say? Hashtag Even the official Weibo of the Dragon Country Football Committee has re-released the news, falsely saying a paragraph. We all don't want to see this happen, but we are still willing to cooperate with the relevant departments of the FA, try to eliminate the adverse effects of this matter, and give everyone pure football and enjoyment. Some clowns and scammers are just a small twist in the development of Dragon Country football, and they absolutely cannot stop the rise and further development of Dragon Country football. Originally, I thought that under such a siege, most people were praising them. Where do I know that the domestic fans, for whom they have long had enough, what are the things? After only 10 minutes of commenting, I immediately closed the comment, deleting the original more than 1,000 comments and deleting the remaining dozens. Liu Yi, who is far away in Spain, is looking at the computer screen with red eyes, designing formations and tactics over and over again, pouring out his anger on Villarreal's head. He needs to vent fiercely, of course. Last year's Europa League final loss is so humiliating. Manchester United fans also hope to avenge an arrow. After 2 hours of archiving and reading, Liu Yi got a satisfactory answer, which should make him slightly happier. Just a little sorry for Villarreal, who let you run into it. God can't bless you either. Episode 64. At the pre-match press conference, Liu Yi's expression was indifferent, making people unable to see his emotions. However, in the current internet era, the news of the Dragon Kingdom has also reached Spain, and the Spanish media will naturally not let Liu Yi go. This kind of news is rare. A country's football organization take the initiative to stand up and expose this kind of scandal, righteousness, and annihilation of relatives. Under normal circumstances, everyone is handled internally, and generally does not make such a stiff scene. Villarreal's head coach Emery, first interviewed, talked about Liu Yi and Manchester United. I don't know the whole situation, I don't comment on Liu's things, but he is a good coach, and there is no doubt about this. I played against Manchester United several times, and I still know them better. Spanish football and English football are completely different. I hope to leave some bad memories for Liu and Manchester United. Me and my players are ready because we've beaten them and we've only been killed before, and this time we want to get the points we have lost. Emery, as the king of the Europa League, is no joke. Career has driven the aircraft carrier in Paris, also took Sevilla to win the Europa League triple, also went to the Premier League to take Arsenal, and now returned to La Liga with Villarreal, and last year won Manchester United and won the Europa League. It is this Europa League that makes people realize that it is not Sevilla, but Emery. Despite the recent popularity of Manchester United, people block killing Buddha, but Emery, as a coach with a brilliant coaching career, naturally has his own pride and confidence. Unfortunately, Emery did not notice that Liu Yi had been looking at him with pity in his eyes as he spoke. This coach who has no grievances and no revenge will become a victim of his own anger, and he is still a believer in the future, which shows that God cannot stop himself as a demon king. After the interview, Emery politely shook hands with Liu Yi and walked away. The reporters focused their attention on Liu Yi, and the scandal that broke out inside the Dragon Kingdom had reached the ears of these reporters, and they naturally wanted to make a fuss. Liu, may I ask you if you have domestic reports that your coaching card is a forgery? Do you have any response? Liu, have the police already investigated you, and will you be taken away by the police after the game? Liu, may I ask you if your use of deception to get a job as Manchester United's head coach is something rooted in your blood? Sure enough, there was almost nothing about football, about this game. Liu Yi simply waved his hand, signaled everyone to be quiet, and let himself say 2 words. The reporters were quiet in unison, their eyes staring at Liu Yi, hoping to hear something big. Liu Yi cleared his throat and took a sip of the mineral water next to him, before he spoke. First of all, my coaching certificate is real. Secondly, my agent has already started work and will get justice for me. Thirdly, I am now leading the team to a pre-match press conference for a Champions League match, not my own confession. After 3 sentences, Liu Yi directly got up and left. Anyway, as long as the coaching results are good, the media can say whatever they want, and the club will protect him. If not, there is also a system of such a big killer, so that the other party can taste the mysterious power from the east. With the end of the press conference, the news has also begun to ferment in the online world, and everyone is very concerned that Liu Yi will say something. In fact, few people pay attention to the content of football, and everyone wants to know whether Liu Yi's coaching certificate is real. Is he a liar? I will not repent and confess my sins. #Spanish Diego. Avoid the question of coaching cards. #Spanish Sport. #Liu Yi's PR team is in action. The kicker. The one that is taken out of context is called a slip-ah, which is breathtaking. Fortunately, Liu Yi has long been used to it, and he does not care about this. If you are angry about some remarks from the media, it is estimated that you will be angry long ago. Domestic media, almost no ones can go to the scene to interview, naturally can only eat secondhand, forward some other foreign media remarks, after translation, add oil and vinegar, form their own views. In response to Liu Yi, it is naturally a new round of crusade. After all, in the description of foreign media, Liu Yi is obviously not confident in the face of the problem of coaching certificate. There are also some videos of live interviews coming back, but they are just 2 words, and it seems that they can't see anything. In the away team locker room of the ceramic stadium, Liu Yi's face returned to normal, but there was some silence, which made everyone feel unaccustomed. Tactics or something, the arrangement, the training has long been prepared, the rest is to play on the spot. It was only in the last few minutes that Liu Yi stood up from his position and clapped his hands to signal that he had something to say. In this game, I only have one request: the first second I get the ball, I start attacking Villarreal, and we are going to sink this submarine with a big win today. Of course, it is also a big victory to tell their Spanish counterparts that Manchester United, which has been completely different from the past, appears in front of them. Our slogan is. Everyone stood up in unison and shouted 3 times, attack harder, advance more, cool. Good value for money. It seems that morale is very high. Liu Yi took the opportunity to announce the starting list, which can basically be guessed by everyone. Lao Luo, you will get the dashing time of the half, and the second half needs your rest. Si Luo smiled and nodded. The last game against Watford, he ran as hard as he could. The consumption was indeed very large. After all, 36 or 7-year-old players still have to save some use. Old Ka, this time you and Lao Luo partnered to start. Cavani very much wanted to explain to the coach that he was not surnamed Ka, but seeing that Si Luo had confessed his fate, he chose to agree to it, and it did not seem to be a very difficult title. Life is like this: if you can't resist, enjoy it. Episode 65. With the entry of the players, the game is about to start, and the commentators of the live broadcast platform have also begun to work. In the Longwa live broadcast room, the Champions League game is often Kim Sang-kai and Liu Yi, the two teachers' partner, and today there are more guests who played in Manchester United that year. At that time, it was also a relatively unfortunate example, and after returning home, it was also blackened by the media and made up various stories. Later, although Dong Fengshua also debunked rumors, the truth often did not attract people's attention as rumors, and various smear stories still circulated everywhere. Kim Sang-kai, let's look at the starting lineup of both sides. First of all, the yellow submarine Villarreal sitting at home, and their goalkeeper will be number 1. Let's do it. Liu Yi, now let's introduce the starting list of the visiting Red Devils Manchester United. The double forward is Cristiano Ronaldo, partner Cavani, the left side is Rashford, the middle is Fred and Van der Beek, and the right is Sancho. Luke Shaw on the left side of the backcourt, Captain Maguire in the middle, partner Lindelof start, and Wan-Bissaka on the right. The goalkeeper is Henderson. Since Liu Yi has been given several chances, the mood should be better. After introducing the starting game, the three began to chat about the project before the game, introducing some news to the fans. I heard that Mourinho's Roma is pursuing Darrow, and Liu seems to have little interest in Dalot, and it is estimated that he will give Wan-Bissaka a new substitute. It was said before that Manchester United lacked a waste, but since Liu Yi became the head coach, this Fred performance is a qualified back. So whether the team can or not, the level of the players is on the one hand, and it is also very important to have a good coach to fully stimulate the potential of the players. With the referee's whistle, the game officially started and Manchester United won the ball. In the Dragon Country live broadcast room, Jean Sang-kai officially entered the state of game commentary, which is also official work. Hello everyone, welcome back to the game. This is the 21-22 season, the 5th round of the Champions League group stage, Villarreal at home to the Red Devils Manchester United. Jean Sang-kai and Liu Yi, Dong Fengshua sent you a commentary. Liu Yi, we saw Liu Yi, who was on the cusp of the storm these 2 days, standing on the sidelines from the beginning of the game, and made an upward pressure action to the players on the court. Dong Fengshua, recently, something is not quite right. We, as fans and practitioners, naturally support Liu Yi, at least until a clear result comes out. Kim Sang-kai, yes, let's look at the game. Cristiano Ronaldo passed the ball back to Van der Beek. Van der Beek passed the ball directly to Sancho on the right, and the players in the front of Manchester United have all entered the other half and are running at high speed. Liu Yi, should we be a little more stable? Villarreal is not good to kick. Liu Yi is not affected by recent events, affecting the mood. At the scene of the game, from the moment he got the football, Liu Yi resolutely sent an offensive signal. Without even a hint of temptation, the players were already reckless and pressed back against the opponent. Sancho took the ball through the half, accurate and wide transfer, the left side of the high-speed plug and the master of the pull, a beautiful stoppage, with the ball with a touch, into the box. Cavani at the front point, rushing towards the goal, took away 2 central defenders who had not yet entered the state, and Cristiano Ronaldo, who was hiding behind him, showed his fangs. Rashi easily swept the ball to the middle of the road. Si Luo a light push, the ball through the small goal of the goal, into the Villarreal goal. After all, not everyone has the ability of De Gea Guanin to sit on the lotus. In the Dragon Kingdom live broadcast room, everyone is still worried about Liu Yi. Is it a bit risky? Liu Yi, the ball is in. Kim Sang-kai, less than a minute into the game, just 42 seconds, Manchester United broke the situation on the pitch and rewrote the score. It was really fast. Dongfang Zhuo, from beginning to end, there was not a single step. Van der Beek's pass, Sancho's transfer, Cavani's involvement, Marcus Rashford's cross, see Ronaldo's final tone, too strong. Some of the fans at the scene had just entered the stadium and had not yet found their seats, and some were drinking water and preparing to start singing. Even if they were sitting on the spot, they didn't even sit on the stools, and the first goal came. It was undoubtedly a bad start for Villarreal, but thankfully, there was still plenty of time. Liu Yi frantically waved his fist on the sidelines, looked up at the sky, and let out a roar of anger to vent his inner depression and anger, which made people moved. Jin Xiangkai couldn't help but sigh. Liu Yi's pressure is really great. Who said it wasn't? Inexplicably hacked by a bunch of people, and also made a huge noise, and even alarmed the national media and police. Ronaldo did not want to send out his Suife celebration as usual, and all the Manchester United players pulled the fans up in unison and rushed towards Liu Yi. Under everyone's jersey, there was a white t-shirt that said in English and Dragon, "We will always support Liu." Even the players on the bench, as well as other staff, stood up and hugged Liu Yi to show their support for him. This scene spread to all corners of the world along the live camera. In the Longwa live broadcast room, all three of them are Manchester United fans, and they are all red-eyed for a while, especially Dongfang Zhuo is deeply experienced. The players know Liu Yi's level the best. If he is not really strong, it is difficult to convince these people, not to mention that there are many players older than his age. Yeah, our people are not easy on the outside, and the result is... Cough cough. After the celebration commentary, the game continued to start and Manchester United started pressing forward. Liu Yi quickly changed the topic. Jin Sang-kai still had to mix in the country. If he let him continue, I am afraid that he would not be used to work tomorrow. On the bullet screen in the live broadcast room, it was all the same. We support Liu Yi. Episode 66. The players in the stadium expressed their support for Liu Yi, and Pogba and Buffet in the stands also spoke on social media. We all support Liu, we all love him. Pogba spoke directly, explaining that his transfer could also be discussed. If Liu needs me to stay, then I'll stay. The game continued. Manchester United pressed on a wide range in the front. See, Ronaldo is extra positive. He knows that he only has half time, naturally do not have to save physical strength. Others, such as Cavani, Rashford and Van der Beek, needless to say, have a lot of running themselves. The effect was very noticeable. Just over 3 minutes had passed since the last goal, and the game was in the 5th minute, and under the pressure of the front, Villarreal made a mistake. When the defender returned the goalkeeper, the power was slightly less. Ronaldo rushed up as fast as he could, gently controlling the ball at his feet, a Marseille spin, dodging the attacking goalkeeper, and then sending the ball into the empty goal. After scoring the goal, Liu pointed to the sky, made a prayer gesture, and then ran to Liu Yi on the sidelines. Other players also followed closely behind. Liu and Liu Yi came to a big hug. Other players also poured in, even the people on the bench were no exception, and the newspaper became a mess. Boss, we will always support you and fight for you. We will always be on your side. Liu Yi slapped everyone one by one, saying that it was impossible not to be moved, so let's go and get it. Incredible honor. Keep attacking. Without any unnecessary nonsense, Liu Yi raised his foot and kicked Rashford's ass, and Master Ra smiled and ran towards the front. It can be seen that Liu Yi is really supported by the players, and the relationship with the players is just right. In the Dragon Kingdom live broadcast room, Jin Xiangkai couldn't help but sigh again. Those who are not blind can see it, but some people just don't want to see it. In the office of the Dragon Football Council, several executives looked at the big screen with gloomy faces, which showed Manchester United's match against Villarreal. There were also several smashed teacups on the ground, and it was clear that there was more than one person who was angry. Are these people stupid? They don't know that Liu Yi is a liar, and Liu Yi has deceived them? What kind of brains? The mind-developed limbs are simple. No wonder Manchester United have achieved crotch results in recent years. From the club top to the players, there is no one smart. At the scene of the game, Manchester United fans began to sing. The game went smoothly beyond their imagination, and the song written for Liu Yi was being created. When we return to the home game next time, the Manchester United fans in the audience will give Liu Yi a surprise. After the celebration was over, the game continued. Liu Yi's right fist slammed 3 punches into the sky, and shouted in dragon language, "Go to Niyamas." The depressed mood eased a little, and Emery next door was no longer as calm as before, and also got up to command the team on the sidelines. Steady, 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 it's all accidents, play according to our plan, isn't it just 2 balls, we can chase it back. As soon as the words fell, Villarreal made a mistake in his forward pass, and Fred snatched the ball down and passed it to Van der Beek, who came to pick him up. Van der Beek didn't like to dribble the ball, so he turned around and passed the ball to Rashford, who looked up and saw 2 players staring at him on the other side. No way, all of Europe knows that you can't let Rashi rush up with the ball, it's too hard to race against him. Several fake moves were made in a row under the feet, taking advantage of the opponent's center of gravity problem. The heel slammed the ball to Luke Shaw on the side, and Luke Shaw had already taken the ball into the cross area. At this time, Manchester United have Cavani and Cristiano Ronaldo in the penalty area, Sancho at the back post, Van der Beek at the top of the arc, and Marcus Rashford on the Luke Shaw side. The choice of passing is simply not too much, compared to the X, it is really happy. When they all thought Luke Shaw was going to cross, he directly turned the triangle back to Van der Beek, who was just about to lift his foot to shoot, and found that his shot route was not very good, and immediately a gentle one, passed to Sancho at the back point. Opponents were guarding against his shots, and where did they think he passed to Sancho? For a while, there was a hole in the defensive formation. Counting on Sancho's header, it is better to expect Fred to grow up, there is no hope at all. Sancho's crisp header came back, and Ronaldo and Cavani in the middle were able to score headers, but Ronaldo, who was closer to Sancho, jumped high, so that Villarreal's defenders once again felt the horror of Ronaldo. When Lua was in Spain, everyone had already learned more than once, and he couldn't prevent it, and he didn't expect to leave for a few years and even meet it. In all the live broadcast rooms, all the Manchester United fans in the world are very happy, singing and dancing like the new year. The last game has been a big win, which is so comfortable. In the Dragon Kingdom's live broadcast room, Kim Sang-kai's excited and passionate voice, it was Cristiano Ronaldo who scored the goal, and in the first half it was only 10 minutes before Ronaldo scored a hat-trick. Today is probably not a good day for the fans and players of the Villarreal. The first half has just begun, United still have most of the time to score, and of course Villarreal has time, so let's wait and see what we do. Emery's expression was a little dazed. Even if he was stubborn, he did not dare to continue to insist. If he could not make adjustments in time, he was afraid that he would usher in a rout. He immediately gestured to the players on the field and made a fist shake. Soon everyone understood that Villarreal was fully recycled to their own half, and the action and physical contact were also large, which brought a lot of trouble to Manchester United. The game became intermittent, and the whistle in the referee's mouth, like peeing, sounded from time to time. In the face of Villarreal's strict defense, Manchester United do not have any good opportunities except for a few long-range shots. Ronaldo and Cavani are in the box, surrounded by a few big men in strict defense. But as long as you continue to attack, opportunities will always come. In the 23rd minute, Van der Beek was brought down in front of Villarreal midfielder Parejo, who politely pulled him up and then smiled apologetically. After warning, the referee gave United a free kick 30 meters from goal. Luke Shaw was ready to open an indirect free kick and drive to the penalty area for everyone to grab, and Liu Yi's figure came from behind him. "Shaw, give it to Marcus." Hearing the shouting of his own Rashi, some happy to run over, he has not scored a free kick for a long time, and the opportunity to play is getting less and less. "Marcus, kick this damn football into the Spaniards' goal." Episode 67. Rashford stood in front of the football, legs a little apart, hands at the waist, deep panting, eyes fixed in the direction of the goal. All of this makes everyone feel that he is learning Ronaldo. In fact, it is the same. Seriously taking 7 steps back, Master Law began to run, and when he reached the football, his body bent like a bow, and his right foot was fiercely carried on the top of the football. If the high-definition camera captures this moment, you will see that the football has a noticeable deformation, and then turns into a white light and goes straight to the goal. The ball was 6 or 7 meters away from the goal, and suddenly a sharp decline. Goalkeeper Liu Yi was helpless, watching the football enter the goal behind him. Rashford, on the spot, fell to his knees on the court, clenching his fists with his hands and yelling with his eyes closed. Then he thought of something again, turned and ran towards Liu Yi, and embraced Liu Yi with open arms. "Thank you, boss." "Oh, the little guy is very good," and even began to call the boss, "not to waste my kindness." "Marcus, I knew you could, you'll get the Golden Globe later, keep running." Liu Yi shouted in Rashford's ear, which made Rashford suddenly excited, the Golden Ballon Award, representing the highest honor of the player. When he was in the youth team, he also had some illusions, but in the past few years, he has experienced several coaches, and he has not been enough to adjust him, so that he has begun to doubt his talent. Maybe he is not that kind of player himself. Now everything is different, and under the new coach, everyone seems to be rejuvenated. Look at it, lingered, Van der Beek, Fred, Sancho, etc., all burst out of their energy, then I can too. He is only 24 years old and has a few years to pursue, the highest honor in football. Boss, I'll fight for you. Go for it. Liu Yi has a natural good feeling for this kind child, he works hard enough, he is full of love, he comes from a poor area, and when he was a child, it was difficult to even eat enough. Even after becoming famous and becoming a Manchester United star, Marcus Rashford has no messy news, and clubbing these things never seemed to have anything to do with him. But Greenwood, who was younger than him, was infected with some bad things at a young age, and all kinds of laughing gas and other things. Marcus Rashford was full of experience on the field, Greenwood on the field, looking at everyone with some envy. He also hoped to get a start, get a chance to play. At this moment, the coach's eyes suddenly looked over and glared at him fiercely. Greenwood was startled. What had he done to make the coach unhappy? Liu Yi also did not know that his casual look made the second prince of the team fall into a bit of panicked self-reflection. In the final hours of the first half, in the 43rd minute, Cristiano Ronaldo and Marcus Rashford switched positions and accurately found Cavani in a beautiful cross on the left side. After working hard in the first half, Cavani finally scored his own goal, and the beautiful header rushed to the top and pushed the ball into the goal. The first half was 5 o'clock, Manchester United was another massacre, see Ronaldo once again 3 goals and 1 assist, the second half is not estimated to come up. In the Dragon Kingdom live broadcast room, this time it was Liu Yi's turn to sigh. See Luo is also a veteran in his 30s, Liu Yi is right to let him rest more, according to the current efficiency, there is no problem in playing until he is 40 years old. Dong Fengzhua on the side did not speak, his expression fell into nostalgia. If he could also meet a coach like Liu Yi in that year, it would be very good. Unfortunately, this is life, there is nothing if. Villarreal's whole squad was crushed and they didn't even want to keep playing, so much so that after kickoff, the pass was soft. Rashford saw the opportunity and flew towards the football, but he actually grabbed it. Seeing that the referee had put the whistle in his mouth, ready to end the first half of the game, Rashford lifted his head, kicked the ball straight at the goal. When the ball was close to the goal, it landed on the ground and bounced up, dodged the goalkeeper's hands, and slowly rolled into the back of the goal. Rashford, swinging his fist vigorously, burst out a foul mouth. One of the kneeling skaters came to the sideline, and then was rushed up by Cavani, crushed to the ground, and the other players also pounced, and the scene began to stack the R-hits. After celebrating for more than 2 minutes, everyone returned to their own half at the urging of the referee. Then, without waiting for Villarreal to kick off, the referee raised his hands and blew the whistle in his mouth. Beep 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 beep. The referee ended the first half of the game, the score was temporarily frozen at 6 o'clock, and the players of Villarreal, like an escape, returned to the players' tunnel and facelessly faced the fans on the spot. Manchester United's players are happy one by one, and from time to time, they look up and wave to the fans. The famous commentator, Teacher Huang, who once became famous for explaining the competition between Italy and Australia, expressed his views on the Weibo. It's hard to imagine what kind of evaluation and suffering this United suffered a month ago, when they didn't seem to have confidence in any team, and it seemed like every player was playing uncomfortable and unhappy. After Liu Yi appeared, everything changed, everyone at Manchester United was reborn and burst out with unprecedented strength, and now Manchester United is so strong, I can't imagine which team can stop them. Former Liverpool player, Redknapp Jr., a football commentator for Sky Sports, can't help but sigh. Desperately powerful Manchester United. Episode 68. In the away team's locker room, C. Luo already knew that he was resting, he ran a little more in the first half, and his body was really tired. Ronaldo scored a hat-trick in the first half, so he got a chance to rest. Marcus was still 1 goal short, so he had to stay on the court. Listening to the coach's voice, everyone let out a heartfelt laugh. Rashford touched his hair, lowered his head sheepishly, and stared at his sneakers. The rest of the second half was also Fred, you ran enough in the last game, this one made the other brothers interact. Suddenly, everyone was in good spirits and wanted to change 2 people to see who could get the chance. So who was going to work hard in the second half? Liu Yi's gaze swept over the people present one by one, some people looked worried, and some were frank. Anthony. Hearing this name, everyone was stunned, even Marshall himself did not react. He has forgotten when he last had a chance to play, and the former Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gave up on himself like he had given up on other players. After the new coach took office, the atmosphere of the team became much better, and he began to train hard, hoping to get the opportunity to play. I didn't expect it to come so quickly, and for a while Marshall was a little stunned. "Anthony, why don't you want to play? Mason can't wait." Liu Yi woke Marshall from his lapse of consciousness with a laughing voice, quickly stood up from the stool, and stuttered and spoke. "No, boss, I'm willing to play." "Well, hopefully you can run on the pitch, like Cristiano and Cavani did in the first half, understand?" "Understood," Marshall replied loudly, as if to shout out his lungs. "Good value for money." Liu Yi patted Marshall with satisfaction, as a former Golden Boy, called the new Henry by the media, and has brought happiness to Manchester United fans many times, he is still willing to give some opportunities. Of course, these opportunities are not unlimited, and if Marshall is still so lazy, then the end is to be purged. "Mike." "In." McTominay's heart fluttered, and he quickly raised his hand. "In the first half, Fred was bullied enough, and in the second half we used our advantage to let the Spaniards know what a confrontation is. Of course, don't give me intentional harm, or get a red card." British traditional midfielder, there will always be some small actions, such as stepping on the foot, kicking the calf or something. Liu Yi does not like these. "I understand. The tactical layout is also needed. McTominay can provide confrontation, but cannot provide Fred's coverage, and arrival rate naturally needs some changes. Downey, Van der Beek, in the second half you have to protect Mike and give him the necessary chance to be in place." "Good." Van der Beek desperately seized the starting opportunity, naturally letting him do whatever he wanted. "Can Marcus Rashford, still run?" "Boss, I feel strong like a cow." Rashford patted his thick, power-filled thighs and showed them off. Liu Yi nodded satisfactorily, and then continued. "In the second half, you need to make more sprints to make the opposing players afraid to press up when attacking and relieve the pressure on Shaw." "No problem." A simple challenge. The entire formation is still 442, but it is different from before. After all, the players who went up are not a type, and the tactics have changed. Both Cavani and Anthony Marshall can return to the car and have a certain ability to fight, which is equivalent to two fulcrums in the front court. Rashford and Sancho are left and right, and Rashi is tall and fast, a sharp knife that can ensure that the opposing defender does not dare to press too high. Sancho is a dagger that can make some famous people in a small area, but this one requires Van der Beek and the striker to move closer to him. Such tactics, after the airport game, everyone already knows it, and there will be nothing that is not understood. Briefly pointing out the tactics, the players helped each other to relax, or drink some water and eat something to restore their strength. After all, there were only 3 substitutions left in the second half. This means that most people have to run all over the field, and like Wan-Bissaka, they get very few rest opportunities. At this level of Dalit, Liu Yi really can't see it, and the most important thing is that the attitude is not good. Recently, Mourinho wanted to get the player, and Liu Yi decided to say hello to the management, exchange some money to come back, and enrich his own reinforcement funds. The intermission passed quickly, only 15 minutes. Liu Yi took the lead in the coach's seat, followed by Emery, who had a dignified face and frowned, and also appeared on the sidelines, and it was clear that he did not think of any good way. The fans guarding the Longwell live broadcast room, accompanied by the referee's whistle, heard Kim Sang-kai's voice again. "Hello friends, welcome to the second half of the game. As we guessed, midfielder Liu Yi replaced Ronaldo. Let's see if it is Anthony Marshall. It seems that Liu Yi is not willing to give up this player, or give him some opportunities." Liu Yi's voice then rang out. It is understandable that McTominay replaced Fred. After all, in recent times, Fred is really too tired. Rest and rest. Dong Fengshua also followed up with the comment, mainly for Marshall who had just played, "I hope Marshall will run. If we think that in our time, if we think of his attitude, it is to be beaten." At the scene of the game, Marshall seemed to be crazy, opened his legs, and stared at the opponent's player. On the sidelines, Liu Yi put his hands to his mouth and shouted, "Run, Anthony." Episode 69. Anthony Marshall was known as the new Henry when he first made his debut. The winner of the 2015 European Golden Boy Award, almost all of them are optimistic about his future: strong body, speed, exquisite foot technology. Even Henry himself praised him, and the major media predicted that he would win the Golden Globe in the future. With a total price of £58 million, after joining Manchester United, he has a good performance under Louis van Gaal, which naturally makes him more and more arrogant, and also makes some off-field things. With Mourinho's arrival, everything changed. Martial was no longer the proud son of heaven, but a piece of the puzzle that Mourinho needed. He began to move more on the side, and needed to compete with Rashford for a position. Over the next few years, Anthony Martial, despite occasional surprise goals, was further and further away from Henry and the golden ball. The nickname of the new Henry also changed from an expectation to a black name. The next few years of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's years, except for the good performance of the first year, were spent with various criticisms. Lazy, no fighting spirit, not to fight and so on, and finally was called the director of the electronics factory by the fans, who suggested that he go to work. Anthony Martial himself seems to have lost his motivation, and even if he occasionally gets the opportunity to go to the mall, he also shows a feeling of being outside the team and messing around. By Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's final period, even though Martial began to make changes, he had worked extra hard in his training, even during the holidays. But as Jesse Lingard, Van der Beek and others were treated, there was no chance to play. So that these people are discouraged, overtly and secretly saying that they want to leave the team and go to other teams to find opportunities to play. Fortunately, with the arrival of the new coach, everything seems to be getting better. Lingard and Van der Beek, Sancho, these people are starting to get opportunities, but also let Martial cheer up. Opportunity was always left to those who were prepared, and when Martial heard the name of Anthony, he fell into a state of sullenness on the spot, followed by a huge mood swing and almost cried. Now I have a halftime opportunity to show the results of my training during this time. Listening to the coach's voice behind him, Martial seemed to have a flame burning in his heart, wanting to explode, just under the eyes of everyone, to find his former self. Burst it, Martial Anthony, you can. Just 2 minutes into the second half, Martial got a chance, Van der Beek straight ball and found him accurately. Anthony Martial leaned against the opposing defender, pulled the ball past with a beautiful turn, turned around and faced the goal straight ahead. Rashford on the left has galloped up, Sancho on the right is moving closer to him, Cavani in front is picking him up, and Van der Beek behind him is constantly waving. For a moment, so many choices made Martial feel a little confused. Playing on the court, everyone's attention is highly concentrated. Where can you be allowed to be stunned and make this mistake? In just 2 seconds, Martial felt a great force coming from behind. When he was ready to fight, the opponent's strength suddenly unloaded, stabbing the football at his feet away, and Anthony Martial, who had lost support, fell directly backwards to the ground. For a moment, Martial fell into depression. What was wrong with him? Just then, Cavani in front of him had run back and pulled him up from the ground. Anthony, get your spirits up, you're playing on the field. Yeah, I'm playing on the field, I can't keep falling, I'm going to explode. Martial shouted inwardly, and his eyes gradually became firmer. Villarreal, who had lost the offensive guts, did not dare to put too much effort into the front, and soon, the ball was snatched back again. McTominay carried 2 men and passed the ball to Van der Beek's feet. Van der Beek is not the kind used to carrying the ball, and the ball often does not stay at his feet for a few seconds, so the decisive choice is to pass to Anthony Martial again. Anthony Martial, who was concentrated, did not force a turn this time, but passed the ball to Marcus Rashford on the left side, and then bypassed the defender himself to rush forward. The two have been working together for many years, and the tacit understanding is obviously there, and the moment Martial turns to start, Rashford's oblique pass has reached him. Like the countless times he did in training, Martial easily controlled the ball under his feet and brought the ball closer to the opponent's penalty area. Teammates have found the right place to pick him up according to their own characteristics. But what he was good at was a one-man assault, and Anthony Martial did not hesitate to carry the ball into the box. His body began to shake violently, and the football was unpredictable under his feet. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Liu Yi's voice echoed in the ears of the fans. Martial chose to break through, he faced the opponent, a simple pull of the ball, he entered the box, it was time to pass, the box is full of Villarreal people. Unfortunately, the passing opportunity is gone, the attitude is quite correct, or a bit of a gamble. On the field, Martial broke through 3 people in a row, and finally there was no way ahead, and when everyone thought that this attack was going to stop, Martial made a surprising choice. A hidden heel slammed the ball out of the penalty area, and Marcus Rashford on the left was already in place. Before the soccer ball stops at the feet, the thick and powerful thighs have been wheeled, and the bow will be drawn like a full moon, and the arrow will go like an electric meteor. The white soccer ball, smashed heavily at the intersection of the goalpost and the beam, bounced into the goal. Just 5 minutes into the second half, Marcus Rashford got a subtle pass from Anthony Martial and a powerful heavy cannon to complete his hat trick. The score was 0-7 and the away team was behind. After the goal, Marcus Rashford rushed to Martial's side at the first time, reached out and touched his head, and others also gathered around to congratulate Martial. Nice assists. Anthony Martial had a smile on his face, and then looked to the sidelines, where the young coach, who was not much older than himself, was clapping and giving himself a thumbs up. It seems that my handling made the boss feel very satisfied, and Mars Alton felt full of motivation. Episode 70. Even Anthony Martial ran, others had something to say. The game was still firmly controlled by Manchester United. Villarreal did not say that it was a counterattack, not even a shot could be done. Rashford, such a fast horse, firmly suppressed the other side's left side. Even the back does not dare to go too far. The level gap itself has, coupled with a small number of people, it is naturally a very normal thing to grab it. For the attitude of the players on the field, Liu Yi is very satisfied. They can firmly implement the tactics. On the one hand, it proves the work ethic, on the other hand, it is the trust in themselves. The anger in my heart was temporarily dispatched, and I was satisfied to go to the coach's bench, picked it up and looked at the tablet. It suddenly occurred to me that there was a news before, saying that there was not even a football-related software on the tablet used by the head coach of the Longwa national team. I have a hole in my head. What do I want to do with this? Liu Yi spat himself in his heart, threw the tablet aside, and continued to enjoy the game in front of him, which was very cool for a Manchester United fan. In the 60th minute, Liu Yi used Greenwood, who warmed up for half a day, to replace Rashford, who also scored a hat-trick, and the two Germans were exchanged. Greenwood, who was excited, quickly ran to the field and conveyed Liu Yi's arrangement by the way. Anthony Martial to the left, Cavani in the middle, Greenwood on the right. Midfielders Van der Beek, McTominay, and Sancho were all set apart and the defenders were untouched. It was already 7 o'clock, Manchester United's formation became more aggressive, and the new Greenwood, as if he had been held back for a long time, began to press crazy front court as soon as he came on. However, after Martial was moved to the left, he seemed to have lost his motivation again and ran lazily. Anthony, run! Liu Yi shouted a voice of dissatisfaction, and after the ball was cut off on the court, Martial, who was lazily chasing back, was full of excitement and instantly woke up. If this game is not satisfactory to the coach, I am afraid that there will really be no chance to play in the future. Greenwood played last game, the substitutes behind him were all picked up by Liu Yi to warm up, and even Phil Jones, who had not played for a long time, also kicked on the sidelines. According to the rules of the Champions League, it can be changed in 3 times for 5 people, and if the midfield is replaced, it is not counted as the number of substitutions. So now Liu Yi can still change 2 people, depending on who can get the favor of the Demon King. The game will continue, with Sancho taking the ball on the right and Greenwood and Cavani pressing their opponents in front, so that Villarreal's players dare not easily come up and surround Sancho. Comfortably carrying the ball to the right side of the penalty area, Sancho did not hesitate to raise his foot to cross, and the ball drew a perfect arc in the air and landed on the head of Cavani at the far post. Cavani jumped high and pushed the ball back, and Van der Beek, who was following in the middle, came in from outside the box and jumped to the top to tip the ball in. Manchester United lead by 8 goals. The key is that there are still more than 20 minutes left in the game. According to the current posture, it is estimated to be double digits. In the Longwa live broadcast room, Liu Yi and Jean Xiangkai gave everyone a little knowledge of science popularization. In the restructured Champions League, the biggest score is Manchester United's nemesis, Liverpool's 8 o'clock at home. It was Turkish giants Besiktas who lost that year. Now that United have equalized the record and are away from home, they have time to rewrite the record. Kim Sang-kai's voice has just fallen. Manchester United has prompted a substitution, and Luke Shaw, who has run up and down the whole game, has been replaced, and it is Brazil international Theses who has played. After replacing Luke Shaw, Liu Yi simply used the last quota to give the substitute players more time to maintain a good state. Let Emperor Lin show off his style and replace it with McTominay. This substitution is suddenly a little incomprehensible. Until now the dirty work on the field, almost all of it is McTominay, and now after he goes down, the midfield defense is directly gone. Liu Yi didn't care, and asked Sancho to run to the right to cooperate with Martial and lingered to the left to take a belt of Greenwood, and Van der Beek back to the middle road, his favorite position. It seems that Emery also saw the opportunity, at least to score a face-saving goal, immediately with a big wave, signaling the players who had defended for dozens of minutes to attack and try. The players in the Manchester United midfield took advantage of the counter-attack of the other side to launch a high-intensity pressing. Villarreal's back and defenders could only pass back to the goalkeeper, who drove directly to the front with a big foot. In the confrontation, Maguire grabbed the first point, perhaps carelessly, or perhaps did not notice, and directly began to dribble the ball laterally. Villarreal striker Dia, who was hiding on his side, took advantage of Maguire's step to take a big step, directly controlled the ball under his feet, and followed the trend to receive the ball forward, ready to enter the box. In a hurry, Maguire fell directly to the ground to put the shovel, did not touch the ball, but shoved the person to the ground. Liu Yi's face on the sidelines was livid, and the referee, who was not far away, directly came up and gave Maguire a yellow jewel card, which was the result of the mercy of his subordinates. Villarreal got a good, threatening free kick opportunity in front. For a moment, all but two fullbacks and backs were posing in an attacking formation ready to give United a bit of color. Villarreal midfielder Parejo, looking in the direction of the goal, held out his fist and made a tactical preparation. The referee's whistle sounded, Parejo hoisted the ball towards the goal, and three Villarreal players rushed towards the landing point. The good goalkeeper on the court will be Hunt's son, who has never been afraid of this, decisively took the initiative to attack, and smashed the ball far away with one punch. Jesse Lingard from the periphery grabbed the first point and passed directly to Anthony Martial on the left, who pulled the ball around and passed the ball to Sancho on the side. Just in the cross on the right, Sancho came to the left side of the same touch, only this time Cavani did not be in place is Greenwood. Without waiting for the ball to land, Greenwood volleyed into the air. The goalkeeper fell to the ground quickly, feeling as if his fingers were touching the ball, but to no avail. The ball turned slightly backwards, smashed into the back post, and bounced into the goal. Crisp and clean, from Jesse Lingard to Martial, to Sancho to Greenwood, there is no extra touch to send the ball into the opponent's goal. At this time, the game had just reached 82 minutes, and Greenwood, Lingard, and others who had not been on the field for a long time were still in good spirits and wanted to score more goals. Will you score double-digit goals tonight? Not only Manchester United fans, but even other fans are looking forward to this incredible Manchester United, which can be flowing, can be fast, can be violent and direct. As long as it is not a sworn enemy fan, it is difficult for anyone to hate it. As for Liu Yi, who sits on the sideline coach's seat and sits firmly on the Dio Yutai, even the fans of the mortal enemy will have a kind of idea, if this guy is the coach of his own team, how happy it should be. After watching the game explode, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is now the most popular coach in the Premier League, except for Manchester United fans. Other fans welcome him to continue to coach. He played a completely side effect in the team, not even a little tactics. The management also held a meeting, a fart. Episode 71. Villarreal was just about to make a splash, scoring at least one goal to save face, and was immediately scored by Manchester United to score another one. Emery sat feebly in the coach's seat, squeezing the hand of the cup, shaking constantly, without unscrewing the cap several times in a row. Is that boy from the Dragon Kingdom the devil? He doesn't know what it means to receive when he sees good? This is a pillar of shame that insists on nailing oneself to history. But there was nothing he could do about it. The players on the pitch had given up the attack, even the strikers had retreated, and no one wanted to face a double-digit defeat. The game lasted 90 minutes, and the fourth official on the sidelines raised a stoppage time sign, and only 1 minute of stoppage time. Jesse Lingard burst forward with the ball, after 2 consecutive times was put to the ground by a man with the ball, defended by Villarreal striker Pino. A gem card was given to Pino and United were given a free kick from a superb position in front. Although Cristiano Ronaldo, Marcus Rashford, Buffon and Pogba are not on the field, but like Lingard, Van der Beek, Sancho can also kick. Sancho worked hard all the time, and before he could score, the opportunity was given to him. Lingard kindly patted his little brother's shoulder and signaled him not to be stressed. Liu Yi also applauded Sancho on the sidelines, and then gave a thumbs up to indicate that he could. In the Dragon Kingdom live broadcast room, Kim Sang-kai and the three continued to explain the game. This should be the last attack. The free kick opportunity was handed over to Sancho. Everyone doesn't seem to have any opinions. Whether or not the score can be double-double, it depends on Sancho's blow. On the pitch, Sancho's pressure was not very great, just playing for 90 minutes, which made his physical strength drop very large, and there was little confidence in the control of his footwork. But since the coach has given this opportunity to himself, he certainly cannot be disappointed. Taking a deep breath, Sancho took 3 steps back and stood firmly, slightly faint at his feet. The referee's whistle sounded. Sancho suddenly took 2 steps forward, slipped under his feet, and as a result, his right foot did not kick the right part, and the football flew up quickly, watching it fly towards the bottom line. It seems that the ball is gone, and just when everyone thinks so, the football undergoes a strange change of direction in the air and falls directly into the goal. Even Sancho himself did not expect that it would be such a result. He just thought that this foot must be gone, did not expect the peak circuit turn. The ball actually entered the net in such a strange way. After a few seconds, Lingard had already taken the lead and pounced on him and began to rub Sancho's curls in celebration. The referee did not wait for the kickoff to end the game directly, and Villarreal's players fled and left the stadium as fast as they could. Liu Yi walked over to shake hands with Emery, only to find that Emery had already left early. Villarreal fans has also withdrawn more than half, left behind, but the mentality is much better. The last ball to Sancho kicked 100 times, may not be able to kick out. It can be seen Villarreal's luck, that is really bad. The United players, after a brief celebration, went to the sidelines to interact with the fans and quickly left the pitch. After all, it is a away team, and if you celebrate unscrupulously, it is easy to be beaten. In the Dragon Country live broadcast room, the work of the commentators is also in the final stage, but they still have to make a little comment after the game. For Manchester United fans, it should be a very happy lately. I wish you all a good dream. Goodbye. Indeed, any Manchester United fan in the world, watching Manchester United games now, has a feeling of unreality. Before it was stumbling, how can it be so smooth now? Happiness. Since Liu Yi took over Manchester United has not scored less than 5 games, and in any game, it has not conceded a goal. At the post-match press conference, Liu Yi did not participate, but asked Carrick to go instead of himself. Emery didn't go there either, and the same assistant coach replaced. The Manchester Evening News, the first time to publish the post-match comment, there is no doubt that the local media in Spain have successfully angered Liu, so that he has fully commanded the team's attack in the game, and Villarreal is a poor victim. Hashtag have you seen the wrath of the devil, that's it. Hashtag the kicker. The cover of the kicker is a photo of Liu Yi shaking his fists with both hands and roaring angrily, and behind Liu Yi is the final score of the game. 0-10. A number that makes all the fans shudder at the sight. The gap between Villarreal and Manchester United, is it really that big? The most crucial thing is that in the previous game, under the leadership of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Manchester United had a difficult defeat of Villarreal, and just changing coaches, the two sides met again, which became a complete massacre. At the post-match press conference, Villarreal's assistant coach, with some helpless laughter, said something that was deeply understandable. The current Manchester United team is probably the scariest team on the planet. We Villarreal can't stop them, hopefully other big teams can stay vigilant. Carrick made a friendly speech after the game, saying something inexplicable. Our game is mainly based on the hard work of the players and with some luck. Today Villarreal is bad luck, otherwise it will definitely be a hard fight. Liu still needs to continue to learn and improve his level in order to persevere in a team like Manchester United for a long time. Liu Yi, who saw these remarks, was suddenly a little confused. Old card, are all the water in your brain? Say what nonsense? Episode 72. After the game, Liu Yi directly in the locker room and gave everyone a holiday. Villarreal is not far from Barcelona. He wants to see his hometown Wule, directly through Lujan's relationship, got Wule's contact information. Although Vure is a substitute in Spain, he is already the best player in the country. Giving up the tens of millions of annual salary of the Modu Harbour, at the age of nearly 30 years, came to Spain to work, completely worthy of respect for the football man. When Liu Yi left for Barcelona, Mendes also held a press conference to respond to the recent actions of the Dragon Football Committee. All I have to do is represent Liu, make some statements, show some evidence. In the face of the long guns and short cannons below, there are even media from the Dragon Kingdom, such as national television reporters in Spain, Flower Club reporters and so on. Some people say that Liu is a liar and that Liu forged documents, and what I want to explain here is that this is completely a slander against Liu and a malicious slander against him. Mendes clicked on the big screen behind him, which showed the appearance of UEFA President Alexander Ceferin, which was obviously a recorded video. I heard that some people slandered Liu. I am very resentful of this behavior. These people obviously do not understand our UEFA policy, these 2 years because of the international environmental impact. So we temporarily adjusted the coaching card assessment rules. Liu is in this case, got the A-level coaching certificate. In the name of the president of UEFA, I express my support and sympathy for Liu, and if he has an unpleasant life in the Dragon Kingdom, I think we in Slovenia welcome him. Good guys, not only proved Liu Yi's innocence on the spot, but even extended an olive branch. The reporters sitting on the national television below, and the reporters of the Flower Agency, their faces are very ugly. And there is no doubt that the stupid behavior of the Dragon Football Committee has given other countries the opportunity to punch their faces. Thank you very much to President Ceferin for his justice. We have other witnesses below. Another video was opened, showing the president of the referee committee, Robert, a coach from Italy. I have deep sympathy for what happened to Liu. Liu's examination papers were even personally approved by me, and there are archives preserved. He is the most talented coach I have ever met, and now someone wants to destroy him. Our Italian food and beauty, as well as a very good scenery, presumably can make Liu feel satisfied. Our country also has special talent introduction standards. If Liu is intentional, I guarantee that there will be no one to stop. The next videos, from Liu Yi's first answer sheet to the referees involved, have stood up for Liu Yi. It was a press conference broadcast live to the world via the internet. It is not very late in the country of Longwa, and a large number of netizens crouch down to see what kind of evidence Liu Yi will come up with to prove his innocence, or to make some sophistry. No one expected that Liu Yi himself was too lazy to come forward and handed it all over to the broker. All the truth is out. It is some people in China who have done stupid things, and Liu Yi's fans and people who believe in him are naturally excited. The water army quietly hid and stopped talking, and speaking again at this time was to find death again. Only to say that he was deceived and went to spray Liu Yi's brainless keyboard, then quietly deleted his comments as if nothing had happened. Demimi published Weibo for the first time, and at Liu Yi to make her position clear. I have always believed in Liu Yi. He is not the kind of person who cheats, he is a real man. Next, Lu Han and others also made remarks to express their solidarity with Liu Yi. Compared with the previous Windward Up, now it is justified. Inside the Dragon Country Football Committee, more than a dozen people gathered in the president's office did not even dare to breathe in the atmosphere, lest they break the current silence. Everyone stared at the screen in front of them, and the inside was turbulent, and everyone knew that it was over. Instead of killing Liu Yi, this wave was brutally killed, and the committee did not have much credibility, and I was afraid that it would go bankrupt directly. Maybe no one will believe what they say in the future, whether true or false. The president simply turned off the screen, glanced at everyone present, and coughed softly. Everyone knew that the president was going to speak, and immediately turned his attention to him and made a serious and obedient appearance. In our committee, some people are clumsy in doing things, and you can't see this kind of thing to check the evidence, so that Liu Yi has been wronged. If it weren't for the evidence from UEFA, we would have almost wronged a good person. The eyes of everyone lit up in unison. Yes, these are all the people below, who did not do things well, and they are also deceived. The president is right, we are also victims. Hey, I can't say that. I also have the mistake of being imprecise and blindly trusting subordinates, and I still have some responsibility. The president waved his hand and said something without a face. The people below also understood what responsibility they should bear. Hey, I didn't take the initiative to investigate, and I was responsible. When printing these materials, I did not carefully review them, and I was also responsible. I am also responsible for not contacting UEFA in advance. Or we will also hold a press conference to apologize to Liu Yi and rehabilitate him. Suddenly, someone came up with this idea. The president's eyes lit up. Taking the initiative to admit mistakes is a good way. After all, the committee has admitted mistakes. What else can you do? In the second half of the press conference that they did not watch, Mendes took out several more contracts, all of which were Liu Yi's endorsement contracts. Because of the slander of this gang, Liu's endorsement contract has all been ruined, and the loss has exceeded 30 million euros, and we will sue the Dragon Country Football Committee in Dragon Country to demand compensation for this part of the loss. Then a middle-aged man from Longwa, from a famous law firm in Longwa, surnamed Luo. Lawyer Luo took a document and came to Mendes's side. We have fully accepted the commission, fought to save Liu Yi's reputation and interests, and in order to protect the legitimate rights and interests of the citizens of the Dragon Kingdom, we must let the law speak and give Liu Yi a proper explanation. Episode 73. Liu Yi and Wu Lei met in Barcelona, and both were very happy. You came at just the right time, we just haven't played in these 2 days, so I can come out and talk to you after training. The fellow saw the tears in his eyes. Wu Lei and Liu Yi shook hands, a stomach word. Wu Lei's wife and children also brought out to meet with Liu Yi. Compared to Liu Yi's infinite scenery, Wu Lei's current situation is somewhat difficult. Liu instructed me to cook for us. You and Wu Lei have a good chat. He is also very stuffy in Spain. Don't bother with it, let's go out and eat. In trouble in other people's homes, Liu Yi is still very embarrassed. Wu Lei said 2 days ago that you were coming. I even bought the dishes. You just wait to taste my craft. Those dishes made by foreigners, sometimes we are not used to it. Con, don't you talk about this. The most I eat in Manchester is instant noodles. When Liu Yi thought of this, he couldn't help but feel bitter in his stomach. Manchester is all right, but the diet and the weather, he is still not very adaptable. No, you don't have a girlfriend, you can't find a babysitter. In this kind of small talk between fellow villagers and fellow villagers, everyone opened the conversation box and talked about life abroad and not easy, of course, mainly Wu Lei poured bitter water. While this side was chatting, the Longhua Football Committee also held a press conference, saying that it was going to make a statement on Liu Yi's matter. Liu Yi's mobile phone rang, and it was Mimi who sent him a message, saying that this matter and a live broadcast address. Those people in the country said they were going to talk about me, let's see what he is talking about. Wu Lei quickly took his notebook and landed on the website sent by Mimi, and sure enough, it was the scene of the press conference, and the president had just sat down and was preparing to start talking. Because the incident happened suddenly, the number of reporters gathered was only a few dozen, not very many. However, the committee also can't take care of anything else, first put the attitude out, block Liu Yi's mouth on other actions, and then say, after all, some mistakes in the work are inevitable, is it not possible for Liu Yi to kill people? A few days ago, there was a little mistake in our work, and some criticism and education were made to coach Liu Yi in China, which caused some small misunderstandings. Listen to this, the reporters below, in their hearts, have begun to scold the mother, do not face ah. The fans on the internet did not give face at all, and there was a scolding in the live broadcast room. Are you criticizing, you are going to destroy Liu Yi? Returning the small misunderstanding of Nima, causing tens of millions of euros and hundreds of millions of losses to others, your father is young. Don't see too much face, really thick-skinned people still look at these people. Even in the gap between cooking, taking a moment to take a look, Wu Lei's wife couldn't help but scold, what kind of people, where is such a cheeky person to say such things? Liu Yi and Wu Lei did not speak and continued to watch the people in the video perform. After a rigorous investigation and further work in the past few days, we found that this was a misunderstanding. We were wrong to blame Liu Yi and Liu for guiding it, the people below did not do a good job, and we leaders are also responsible. Several interns have carried out internal criticism education, and we have also carried out mutual criticism and self-criticism, and strive to do solid work in the future work and work together for the Dragon Country football to a higher level. For the suffering of Liu Yi Liu Guide, we apologize and sympathize with Liu Yi, and hope that he can forgive a few students who are enthusiastic about doing things for Longhua football, the impulse of young people, and this storm brewing. Turning over and talking for half an hour is not even a single sorry. Not to mention the people watching the live broadcast, even the reporters on the scene have a drowsy feeling, perhaps this is exactly the effect that the president wants. After all, everyone is sleepy, and naturally, they will miss a lot of key information. Finally, it was time for the reporter to ask questions, and the reporters from Penguin Sports were not used to these people. Liu Yi and his agent, Mendez, have prepared enough evidence and materials for the actions of the Dragon Football Committee to let the law protect his interests. Hearing this, the chairman was suddenly a little confused, they did not see this time, they directly turned off the television, and then they were also anxious to prepare for the conference, and did not get more news. There must be some misunderstanding here, I hope Liu Yi will contact us, and we will face this misunderstanding together. Your actions have caused huge losses to Liu Yi's reputation, and have brought him more than 30 million euros in losses. Are you ready to make compensation? We will sincerely apologize to Liu Yi and hope that he can forgive us for the negligence in our work. As for the others, I think as long as the misunderstanding is lifted, there is naturally no need to go to court. I have to say that after so many years in the mixed circle, the ability of the president to adapt to changes is still very good. Today's press conference will end here, we have to go down and contact Liu Yi to discuss how to solve this matter. After saying that the reporters were not given a chance to continue to ask questions, the president and other staff quickly left the scene, making it easy to think of an idiom and flee into the wilderness. Liu Yi sent a new blog in time to show his attitude towards this matter. If an apology is useful, then what else is the law for? At Luo Xiang's lawyer. Episode 74. Soon, lawyer Luo Xiang also responded, forwarding Liu Yi's Weibo and showing a lawyer's letter. I have fully accepted Mr. Liu Yi's entrustment to submit compensation and apology to the Dragon Football Committee on a series of crimes such as reputation injury and slander. Others send lawyers letters, perhaps without much deterrence. But this is Luo Xiang, not only a lawyer, but also a law teacher, but also an excellent legal communicator. His fans joked that he casually said a word in the comment area and was sentenced to 3 years by Mr. Luo. This is a down-to-earth power faction, and it is definitely not a joke. Coupled with the fact that this matter still involves UEFA and foreign parties, Manchester United clubs will also file a lawsuit against the committee. Many people will choose a $1 compensation to prove that they do not want money, but justice, but in Liu Yi's view, there is no doubt that this is a connivance of crime. Only a fierce fine, but they know that the flesh hurts, will have a deterrent effect on this crime, otherwise you will want $1, and he will secretly call you stupid. So this time Liu Yi opened his mouth for 30 million euros, which translates to RMB, is about 216 million, a very large number. At the same time, some of the Water Army accounts were also directly listed because of the large number of news that spread and published slander and attack Liu Yi, and then handed over to the public security organs. When the public security organs find the people behind this, Liu Yi will launch a lawsuit at any cost. Anyway, he is not short of money now. What he wants is to teach these grandchildren a lesson. At this point, the Water Army company behind them was dumbfounded, because the orders they received before would never affect them, because everyone did not need a water army, and when the time came to pull out the radish and bring out the mud, no one would look good. I didn't expect to encounter a person who did not follow the rules this time, and immediately several Water Army companies quickly logged into Weibo and wanted to delete the account and related information. They were greeted by a prompt, "I'm sorry, your account is temporarily banned because it is suspected of violating the law, and it will be unblocked after it is clarified." Although some accounts are not real name systems, as long as the police are willing, they can always find people. The most important thing is that the quota this time is really too large, a full 30 million euros, more than 200 million renminbi, absolutely can be regarded as a big case. What is the point of arresting a few water troops? Liu Yi, who was light and had nothing to do, ate an authentic Chinese meal at Wu Lei's house, and was moved to tears. Although he is said to be a northerner, and the Shanghai taste of the Wu Lei family is somewhat incompatible, compared with the things made by the British, it is really delicious in the world. Director Liu, how did you integrate into the team so quickly? I see that the players are also very supportive of you, and you get along very well. See, Luo also gave you a car, and Fred also expressed his willingness to give everything for you? Wu Lei had been puzzled about this problem for a long time. He was a very traditional dragon countryman, and after arriving in Spain, he brought his wife and children with him, and he went out with his teammates to play less. Similar to helping to point out something, it may not be convenient to ask, but this can be said. The main language, I can probably speak 4 or 5 languages now. It is not a problem to communicate with everyone, and an open mind, treat them as ordinary people, don't overexalt or degrade. The most important thing is to make friends, and if people really understand each other, then the relationship will naturally be close to a lot. Viewer nodded thoughtfully. He is indeed relatively lacking in this regard. He has been in Spain for 2 years, the language improvement is not very large, the most important thing is that he lacks good friends in the team. Almost all of his relationship with him stops at the step of his teammates, and it is difficult to have any close relationship. Keep working hard, it's not easy for you to work outside alone. If you need any help, just say. When leaving, Liu Yi patted Wu Lei's shoulder and said a promise. He is now mixed in European football, much stronger than Wu Lei. Barcelona is also a scenic city, there are many places to visit. Liu Yi communication is not a problem, alone for most of the day, until 9 o'clock in the evening, only to drag some tired body back to the hotel. After taking a hot bath in the bathtub, the exhaustion dissipated most of the time, lazily leaned back on the sofa, opened the notebook he carried with him, and entered the game. This match against Villarreal, his second Champions League game at Manchester United and 5th game, there should be some good rewards according to the rules of the game. Sure enough, the moment you enter the game, the first thing that flashes is a series of prompts. Congratulations to the host for leading Manchester United to a 5th consecutive victory and rewarding Manchester United with 1% stake. Good guys, now they have 6% of Manchester United's shares. If it is shown, it will definitely get a board seat at United. In order to prevent the Glazer family from discovering and then producing some moths, Liu Yi decided to continue to make a low-key fortune and quietly enter the village to shoot guns. Congratulations to the host for the first time in the Champions League, leading the team to play a double-digit score, rewarding 3 elite coaching cards, using 3 elite coaches, can be the main assistant coach in the 5 major leagues, or in the Portuguese Premier League, the Championship and other leagues as a head coach. Good guys, before it was just a coach card, but there was no prefix, and now these 3 elite levels are great. The key is that these coaching cards can be used by people in reality, or they can be used directly to conjure up a person. Liu Yi probably had a candidate in mind, but he also needed the other party's consent, so he pressed to continue to look at the reward. Congratulations to the host's players for scoring hat-tricks in 5 consecutive matches, rewarding the Rising Star player card with a young player with a potential of 170 or more. Now there are also 2 Rising Stars, and Liu Yi is also ready to find an opportunity to use them to see if he can open up a small player with potential in the Dragon Kingdom. The host wins consecutive big scores, coupled with high public support, reaps hidden rewards, a new endorsement contract. And reward endorsement contract, the last time is the domestic luxury car brand Longqi, what will be this time? If he can, Liu Yi is still willing to make some contributions to the dissemination of domestic brands in the world. Episode 75. The day after returning to Manchester, Liu Yi received a message from Wu Lei, which contained only one screenshot. Looking at it carefully, it is probably after Wu Lei put a photo of himself and Liu Yi on the fence, and there are people from the domestic football committee who mistakenly think that the relationship between the two is excellent. I couldn't help but come up with some crooked ideas, and even asked Wu Lei to help contact Liu Yi, to communicate with Liu Yi privately, to solve the previous matter in private, and not to go to court. Seeing this screenshot, Liu Yi almost laughed to death. This gang of wastes also fantasized about bribing themselves. It was simply naive stupidity. You don't need a brain, think about it with your heels, you can know that these people are nothing more than the benefit of the delivery of that set. For example, send domestic coaches to Manchester United to study for a while, and then everyone will divide the national funds of 10 million and so on. It may even happen that Liu Yi would be more expensive if he could bring a Chinese player to Manchester United and occasionally play in the game. Some people in the Dragon Football Committee don't care about football at all, they only care about interests. After a little thought, Liu Yi did not send the screenshot. After all, this also involved Wu Lei, but directly sent a Weibo. Don't disgust me, don't look for someone to come and be private with me, the only solution to the matter between us is to punish you with the law and the law. In my heart now, you are a bunch of criminals. Regarding this matter, lawyers and agents have spoken out in the past 2 days, and fans are also waiting for Liu Yi to speak. Sure enough, not to disappoint them, nor did they expect it, Liu Yi fired the cannon directly, without the slightest intention of leaving room for it. Some people think that Liu Yi is too much, and does not understand the flexible and moderate way. They knew that since they knew from their father that their mother had been directly fainted by qi, Liu Yi hated that he could not find a kitchen knife and hack these grandchildren to death with a knife. As for monetary interests, Liu Yi is not a saint. But now, in addition to the cost of the Dragon banner endorsement, there is not a low salary, more bonuses, there are 4% of Manchester United shares, enough for more than $100 million US. What attractive things can the Dragon Country Football Council come up with to buy him? They can't get it out. The rejection was crisp and clean, without the slightest hesitation, and without any room for maneuver. Inside the Dragon Country Football Committee, the teacups in the president's office were replaced by a new set, and the ones that had just been bought 2 days ago were smashed again. Just when Liu Yi thought that the other party would stop a little, the news came from Luo Xiang's lawyer that the gang had tried to put pressure on the lawyer to give up the case. It is funny that lawyer Luo Xiang is a somewhat sentimental intellectual, and the other party's behavior just sends him evidence. There was a riot operation once, so that Liu Yi could see this organization clearly, afraid that he was already terminally ill. Unless it was a big cleaning, it was difficult to clean up. For Dragon Country Football, that is harmful and unprofitable. Putting these matters aside for the time being, it will take time to fight the lawsuit anyway, and it will be left to the lawyer to deal with it. Liu Yi will pay attention back to football. Since he became Manchester United manager, the Premier League has won 3 big games, bringing Manchester United's points directly to 23 points, and because of the last 3 games, he has achieved 19 goals on goal difference. At this time, after 12 rounds of battles, Chelsea ranked first with 29 points, Liverpool ranked second with 25 points, and the third was Manchester United with 23 points, but the goal difference was as high as 23, steadily suppressing Manchester City and West Ham United with the same points. The 4th place is Manchester City, the 4th and 5th places are the Hammer Help West Ham United with 23 points, and the 3 brothers Arsenal, who have just started to pull their crotches but have already caught up after a wave of consecutive wins, are 20 points. And Cristiano Ronaldo also took the top spot with 12 goals with 3 hat-tricks, and the second place was Liverpool's star and Pharaoh Salah scored 11 goals. Of course, in addition to the goal, the two also have 7 assists each, which shows that the Egyptian Pharaoh is at the peak of his career at the moment. As for the Champions League, after 5 rounds of Manchester United's 2 consecutive wins, the points reached 12 points, followed by Atlanta with only 7 points, and it was safe to get the ticket to the knockout round. Cristiano Ronaldo has a terrifying 9 goals, in addition to 1 assist, a stable Champions League #1 star. Behind him was Bayern superstar Lewandowski, who followed with 8 goals. Liu Yi was very satisfied with this superstar with full loyalty value exerted a huge amount of energy in his hands, as dazzling as the sun. This is the benefit of loyalty to oneself. This year's Golden Globe Awards have gone with the wind, but next year and the following year's Golden Globes, Liu Yi has the right to make this decision. Of course, next year is the World Cup year, which has a very big impact on the Ballon d'Or, and the probability that the Portuguese national team can win the World Cup is almost equivalent to zero. You will think that it has been almost a month since I became the manager of Manchester United. In addition to the huge amount of money and fame, there are a bunch of extremely loyal players, and even the lowest marshal so far has 13 loyalties. Unfortunately, only Ronaldo and Fred still have 2 full values. Sancho and Van der Beek have reached 17, and Rashford has reached 18. As for the lost, the joy of being surrounded by friends and leisure. In this distant Manchester, Liu Yi alone in the lonely night, with the help of Twitter welfare sister to sleep, will also think of the domestic late-night barbecue stall. The ringtone of the mobile phone suddenly remembered, looked at the note, and it was actually a message from the big Mimi. Handsome man, have you slept? Episode 76. The chat of the beautiful young woman Mimi made Liu Yi far away in Manchester, and she also had more warmth. The two complained to each other about some things in work and life, and Mimi also told Liu Yi something. She learned about the Dragon Country Football Committee from her domestic friends. Those people just want to bully you to death and play a role in killing chickens and monkeys, so don't let them go. Mimi said as she also sent out a few exhaling expressions. Maybe it is that she often plays young women, so that the mentality of the big Mimi is also younger than the actual age. Then sure, since I tore my face, I must punch hard to let these people know that I am not easy to mess with. Yes, you're not in the domestic circle anyway, and they can't control you. Look, this time there is a general statement. I am not the kind of person who asks for an apology and does not ask for compensation in order to make a false name, even what they pay me for. I have thought about it. After talking about some recent events, Mimi turned to the previous events. I see you started at Chelsea and ended in December with a total of 9 games, which is a relatively busy schedule, right? That's for sure, mainly because there are 10 winter breaks in the middle of December, that is, the Christmas holiday, and the time for competitions is even more intensive. What is the game? Mimi is not concerned, she is not even a pseudo-fan now, and now she pays attention to Manchester United's game, mainly because of Liu Yi. At first, I was running to rub the heat, but after contact, I found that the radiant charm of this person made people can't help but want to be close. 10 days of vacation, what do you arrange? Hey, I was still thinking about going around, but before because of my business, the unscrupulous media spread rumors everywhere, and my mother fainted in anger, and I went back to see it during the holidays. Speaking of this matter, Liu Yi is now full of anger. That's really to come back to see, uncle and aunt also see you in the video, don't know anything about your current job, come back and talk to them, this kind of thing will not happen in the future. Getting a fairly satisfactory answer, Mimi was obviously getting happier and happier. Well, if you have time to go back, we can make an appointment for a meal, and then call Lu Han and the child too. Yang Tianbao doesn't know whether it's convenient or inconvenient. Nasty, when talking to people, don't mention whether other women are good or not. You have said so. Liu Yi is naturally full of promises, then what is not good? Time passed quickly, waiting for Mimi to say goodnight to Liu Yi, and Liu Yi was ready to sleep, only to find that 2 hours had passed. Sure enough, men and women are not tired of working, and if you chat with beautiful women, the time will pass quickly. The great Mimi of the capital was also very surprised. The last time she chatted with someone for such a long time, how long it was, she couldn't remember clearly. Anyway, at least 10 years ago, when shooting the immortal sword, maybe I talked to someone who, but definitely not for so long. Liu Yi entered a wonderful dream with some pleasant mood. It is worth mentioning that after waking up the next day, the first thing Liu Yi did was to run to the bathroom to take a shower. And the great Mimi, who was far away in the Dragon Kingdom, after waking up from napping, also went to take a bath. The empty vacation is short, or it is necessary to get back to work as soon as possible. After a day off, the players have also recovered some spirits and look like they are in good shape. After arranging the morning's training, Liu Yi returned to the office, and the next game was with Chelsea, the current top Blues, a formidable opponent that must be treated well. In 12 league games this season, Chelsea only lost 1-0 to Manchester City, and the remaining 11 games, 9 wins and 2 draws, scored 30 goals, only conceded 4 goals. It's the team that has conceded the fewest goals so far, and the solid backline, like cement concrete, is incredible. Such an opponent naturally has to study carefully how to reasonably defeat the opponent. Liu Yi is ready for dozens of rounds on the liver. Of course, it is also necessary to upgrade the team before this. Just like Liu Yi's subordinates, now the most relied on midfielder Fred to deal with the Premier League is only qualified, but in the game with Chelsea, qualification is definitely not enough. Click on Fred immediately and choose to view his specific attributes. Zamabo has also been almost a month and can improve a little more. The first is the potential value. Fred's potential value has reached the end, and if you want to improve your ability, you must improve the potential value. Simply use 9,000 prestige points to increase Fred's potential to 160, and if the ability is also increased to 160, then among players with the same function in the Premier League, at least the top 3 can be filmed, and it is enough to face Chelsea for the time being. However, if you want to add to the potential of 150 to 160, you need to improve in all aspects. Looking at Fred, only a pitiful 11-point vision and a 9-point no-ball run, Liu Yi felt a little speechless. No wonder in the recent game, Fred's offense could not help at all. Immediately, increase it all to 15, and a mere 100 prestige can be done. Then the pass of 14 was added, also increased by 1 point, to 15, spending 10 points of prestige. Finally, the 15-point prediction and 14-point speed were all increased to 16 points, costing 210 prestige points. By this time, Fred's overall evaluation of ability had only reached 155, and it was even more difficult to increase next. Liu Yi spent 9,320 points of prestige to complete this round of Fred upgrades, and it would definitely give people a surprise. The next to be upgraded is Varane, and it is a complete joke not to expect Maguire and Lindelof to withstand Chelsea's attacking group. Varane was at the peak of his career, mainly with a major knee injury that led to a decline in his potential. The current and potential abilities in the game are both 165, which is undoubtedly unreasonable, and Liu Yi decided to give Varane ability and potential worthy of his performance. Episode 77. Raphael, Varane, the boss told you to go to his office. Now Carrick can only do some communication work. The influence in the locker room has been almost nothing. No player will oppose a coach who can bring glory and victory to everyone. This is after Ronaldo and Fred, and the boss will once again hand over people to the office alone. For a while, Varane was thrilled, while others were envious of Manchester United, and everyone had been speculating about who the next lucky person to get the grace of the coach would be, and now the answer is out. Varane himself is strong enough, but because of the great injuries, the speed and resistance decline are severe, and the glass physique often suffers injuries. The fact that he has been recovering from injuries for half a season is also the main reason why Real Madrid let him go. With some anticipation and trepidation, Varane appeared in front of Liu Yi. It's not like at the beginning. Liu Yi needs to keep his face open to maintain his majesty and avoid being looked down upon or despised by the players. Now he was full of smiles, but no one dared to underestimate him and respect him. Varane's loyalty reached 16, which is not particularly high, but at least it can meet Liu Yi's bottom line. This time it will make an exception for your boy. Raphael, sit. Liu Yi's smile is full of spring breeze, which makes people feel very comfortable, and good things happen at first glance. Varane sat down obediently, like a schoolboy questioned by a teacher, trying to make himself appear obedient and obedient. Boss, you're looking for me. A little thing, I heard that you were seriously injured before. Liu Yi smiled and sat across from Varane, reached out to give him a cup of tea, and then began to speak. Speaking of injury, Varane felt a sadness first, followed by a surprise. Quickly talk about his own things. Liu Yi made the appearance of listening carefully, but he was showing his acting skills, which is a story that everyone knows. It just so happens that I have something here that can help people recover. Without waiting for Liu Yi to finish, Varane stood up, such a big word, and the tears were about to come out. Liu, I am willing to give everything for you. Liu Yi was shocked. He was called a school bully, and Varane, who had always been very calm, was so excited. Raphael, you are the general I rely on. I naturally want to make you better. We have more goals and more lofty ideals to conquer. Don't be so excited. Casually chatting, Liu Yi could feel that Varane had more respect for himself. Immediately took out a document bag, which contained a printed document, and some discussions between Bajuanjan and Tai Chi were randomly mixed by him. After training every day, follow this training once and pay absolutely no more attention. I will obey your arrangement. Varane took over, his hands trembling slightly. Liu Yi nodded satisfactorily. Presumably Valan's loyalty should have reached its full value. But this is not enough. After all, exercise and rehabilitation of these means, sometimes cannot fully explain, said, and then took out a stack of domestic plaster. This is the case where he worked before, causing lumbar muscle strain, often low back pain, used to stick. I thought I could use it, but I didn't expect that after using personal attribute points, my waist didn't hurt, I couldn't get sleepy, and I was more energetic. Now it is just right to let Varane feel the mysterious power of the East. It can also be regarded as a contribution to the spread of a little dragon kingdom culture. This thing is attached to the waist, once every 2 days, just for you to have an effect, others use it for nothing. Listening to Liu Yi's serious instructions, this big man in Varane almost cried out, but he was specially made for himself. Rest assured, God won't know. The teammates at the training ground watched Varane holding a document and sneakily return to the locker room, lest they be known by everyone, and one by one they all stayed envious. When will it be your turn? Raphael. As soon as Varane returned to the training ground, he was surrounded by teammates with bad faces, that kind of hungry wolf-like gaze, but he remembered the first time he became a man. Huh? Did the instructor give you the mysterious exercises of the East? Instead of coveting his own flesh, Varane was relieved and a little lost at the same time. Yes, like Fred and Cristiano, practice for half an hour every day when you get home. Sure enough, the eyes of the crowd turned to envy and expectation. As long as they worked diligently, worked honestly, and ran and fought with all their strength after playing, the boss would see himself sooner or later. Liu Yi was in the office. Through the huge floor-to-ceiling glass, he could see the situation on the training ground. The team members worked hard one by one, just like that slogan. Unity and tension, serious and lively. With a satisfied smile on his face, he directly modified Varane's personal attributes of up to 18 and his tendency to injury that was further increased to 1. From a glass man to a steel tough guy, it's that simple. The only problem is that it costs 55,530 prestige points, and the lower the value of injury tendency, the greater the consumption. But now Liu Yi's reputation has reached tens of millions, and he doesn't care about this. There are also some detailed abilities in Varane that need to be improved. By the way, Liu Yi also began to think about the next position and candidate who needed to be promoted. Episode 78. The removal of Varane's injury attribute can only allow him to play at the level he appears, but for what Liu Yi has requested, his current level is also not enough. A tough centre-back has a huge impact on the entire team. Just like the Red Devils' nemesis Liverpool, with or without Van Dijk, it is almost 2 teams. Compared to Maguire and Lindelof, as well as Bailey, Varane's transformation is much easier, and even if it suddenly becomes stronger, people will take it for granted. Because he used to be so strong, only to be ruined by injuries. Current capacity 165, potential capacity 172. Seeing this, Liu Yi wanted to find Van to take a look, but unfortunately, the details could only be seen by his own players. Back and continue to modify his own Varane. Now that he is only 27 years old, he was originally a central defender, at his peak. The key defensive data, almost all of them are 16 to 17, which shows the high level of his level. The reason why his overall score is not high enough, Liu Yi also sees clearly, the attributes of the confrontation class are very mediocre, and in the case of his physical fitness, it is almost the same as Fred's, which is unbearable. In the technical category, as a centre-back staring and steals are 17, it is definitely the best in the centre-back, and the header has reached 16 enough. The rest are the 2 attributes that Liu Yi feels are important, stopping the ball and passing, which are 13 and 14 respectively. This is naturally a bit low, and is directly used to add him to double 15. Among the spiritual attributes, the defensive position is as high as 17 and the prejudgment is as high as 16, but for Liu Yi, these 2 strengths alone are not enough. So the vision of Varane 11, the teamwork of 14, and the composure of 13 are all raised to 15 points. The rest is the body type. Varane, even after the injury, there is still a double 16 of explosive power and speed, enough ability, bounce is 17. However, other attributes, some are not enough to see, flexible 13, balanced 11, endurance strong double 15. It is enough to see that Varane as a central defender, confrontation is not enough. Directly improve the flexibility and balance to 15, and then look at Varane's overall rating. With so many changes, the short board is supplemented by the front, Varane's overall evaluation, directly from 165 to 170, from his potential 172, there are only 2 points left. And this ability value, in the entire Premier League, cannot be said to be in the top 3. After the setting, Liu Yi did not choose to confirm for the time being. After all, Varane had not yet begun to practice, and he could not work in advance. There are not many reputation points used, but the effect is definitely obvious. A central axis, see Ronaldo, Fred and Varane, has been almost transformed by Liu Yi. Next, originally Liu Yi wanted to promote Lingard, but Emperor Lin's next summer expired, and if he did not renew his contract now, it would not be a wedding dress for others. Wait, with enhanced versions of Ronaldo, Fred and Varane, it should be easier to deal with Chelsea. Thinking of Louis looked at the attributes of a veteran for such a long time, loyal to himself, and also sent a sports car, which must be rewarded. Boost Ronaldo's pass with only 14 points to 16 points. The rest is the body data, 15 points of explosive power. For the normal 36-year-old veteran, it is simply like a god, but it is not enough for Ronaldo. Just when Louis was ready to improve the explosive power of the system suddenly gave a hint. Veterans over 35 years old improve the data of the body by more than 15 points. 15 to 17 need 10,000 prestige per point, 17 to 19 needs 1 million prestige, 19 to 20 need prestige. Good fellow, even if his reputation value has exceeded 10 million, it is not enough to make it so. Fortunately, Louis did not expect that the body data of would be pointed to full value, which was too terrifying. The explosive power is directly increased to 17, and the speed is also increased from 16 to 17, so that Luo has a double 17 speed attribute, which is simply a dream back to the era of Luo. The balance was raised from 14 to 17, and by the way, the flexibility was also raised to 17. This wave of transformation of Luo directly cost more than 70,000 prestige points, and fortunately, the improvement of Luo is even more obvious. Unlike Varane, Liu Yi's transformation of Luo directly chose to confirm. Ronaldo, who is on the court, can clearly feel the changes in his body, and there is no doubt that this is the Oriental secret book given by the boss to himself, which has a huge impact on his body. The Red Devil and the Blue Army are not sworn enemies, but with the rise of the Blue Army and the pull of the Red Devils in recent years, the relationship between the two sides is not harmonious. Coupled with the state of Chelsea this season, it is simply in the spirit of the championship, it is too stable, and almost no points have been lost. Rivals, Liverpool and Manchester City, have made mistakes more than once. Yes, there is no Manchester United place in the original competitors, and no one will think that Manchester United can win the Premier League title this season. But now, with the change of manager, with the appointment of Liu Yi, Manchester United has undergone tremendous changes, erupting with huge energy and shaking the entire European football world. Many people say that it is the dividend of the coaching period, but no one knows when this terrible dividend will continue. After all, in 5 consecutive games, the one with the fewest goals has 5, the most 10, which is too exaggerated. Fans of other teams in the Premier League have begun to collectively criticize Klopp. People, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is good, you say you are doing so much, in exchange for such a monster, who can stand it? Even Liverpool fans, the psychology is also a little uncomfortable. Originally Manchester United this fish, maybe you can eat more times, but because of the last 5 o'clock, resulting in the future may not be able to eat. Exhaustion and fishing is not good. The failure of scientific maintenance has led to Liverpool almost becoming a public enemy of the Premier League. At least the Tottenham Hotspur, Manchester City, and Watford fans who have suffered losses have directly opened their mouths and cursed their mothers. Next, it depends on the powerful Chelsea to stop the Dragon Kingdom from the devil, and his Manchester United. Even the Financial Journal published a direct football commentary with the headline, "Klopp should apologize." Episode 79. The collision of the top and third places in the Premier League, coupled with the huge fan base on both sides, has a wide influence in the world, and is destined to be a Mars collision game. 2 days before the start of the game, the fishing wheel and the media have begun to hype up, so that the popularity of this game has continued to increase. The Premier League is invincible and lonely in this regard. Germany's Kicker even published a commentary, calling the game a contest between the strongest spear and the strongest shield in the Premier League. Manchester United and Liu Yi after the appointment, 3 Premier League games, a total of 19 goals, the attack power of the best in Europe. The key is that these 3 games, not all against the bottom of the fish belly team. 2 of them were members of the Premier League's Big Six, which is enough to see that this is not a sadistic dish, unless you admit that Manchester City are also a dish. At the other extreme, Chelsea have conceded 4 goals so far this season and have played almost a third of the way through the season, and at this efficiency, they could break Mourinho's record for the fewest goals conceded by Chelsea. Call it the strongest shield in the Premier League this season, it's not ambiguous at all, there is no moisture. The past grudges and confrontation history of the two sides, as well as various player grudges, have been laid out one by one and become the talk of the public after dinner. In fact, the relationship between Manchester United and Chelsea is basically a normal competition within the league, and there is no emotional grudge between the two sides. If anything, Abu poached Manchester United CEO Ken Young, who played a crucial role in Chelsea's rise. As for some fans, Ken Young took away the transfer information from Manchester United, which can only be said to be a gimmick to catch the wind and catch the shadow, and it is also a catharsis for fans when Manchester United takes advantage of the bad opportunity. Various players and celebrities, and even interviews with celebrities, have also appeared on social media. Television stations also continue to do programs about the Red Devil and Blues, which naturally have various predictions, wins and losses, goals, and so on. Gary Neville's feelings for Manchester United are unquestionable. Of course, he is now a commentator for Sky Sports, and sometimes saying something is also a job need, plus as a Manchester United player, there are naturally dividends. In Sky Sports' program, in addition to Neville and his old partner Carragher, Keane, Scholes, Alan Smith, as well as Liverpool's Robbie Fowler, Chelsea's Lampard were also present. Sitting in the middle was the hot-bodied beauty host, Charlotte Jackson. Everyone's speech has been going on for a while, but it seems that the emotions are on the top, and it will not end for a while and a half. Neville, Lou has proven that we have a strong team and have now passed the time of old and are completely on the right path. Carragher rolled his eyes and mocked without hesitation. When Solskjaer was there before, you said it was the right thing, so where is the statue now? Neville was a little embarrassed for a while. It was really his black history, and he didn't expect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as the interim manager, to be so fierce, and he began to pull his crotch after turning right. Keane naturally did not look at Neville and also spoke. Lou has proved his level. Now Manchester United's attack is so strong, I don't think Chelsea can stand it. Lampard also retorted, so do you think the Manchester United defense can withstand Chelsea's attack? For a time, everyone fell silent, although United did not concede a goal in these games, but Maguire and Bailey in the backline are unstable, and it is normal to be in a good situation. Facing other teams before, it may have been luck and the bonus of changing the manager, but now it's been a month and it's Chelsea to face. However, it doesn't matter if you have confidence in your heart, at least the momentum is sufficient, and Keane has always been good at this. Anyway, I think Manchester United can win this game 100%, and what Chelsea should be looking for is to lose fewer penalties and it will look better. On the contrary, I think the bonus period of Manchester United's manager change has passed, the 10-0 victory over Villarreal, early from the Champions League group stage, but also let the players breathe a sigh of relief. Manchester United's route will start from this game. After a string of victories, Chelsea came at exactly the right time, just like where they are now, to give Manchester United a defeat and a blow to Manchester United's arrogance. On social media, all kinds of celebrities with heads and faces have also hugged teams. As Manchester United star David Beckham did not budge, tweeted, "King of the Red Devils, take Chelsea, put the Premier League crown on your head." The picture below is Liu Yi, with his hands clenched in fists, frantically celebrating. Gerald, it's a fight between dragons and tigers, and if it's average, it's good for Liverpool. Naturally, Bolt, the world's flying man, will not miss any Manchester United game. As a loyal Manchester United fan, he will support every game, even go to the scene to see the ball. Lou promises to bring us Manchester United fans joy, and we believe in Lou. There are also many celebrities who support Chelsea. With Drogba, Chelsea will use their will of steel to tell Manchester United that Chelsea are invincible. Hollywood actress Charlize Theron, Chelsea will stop Manchester United because we want to win this season's Premier League title. Outside Old Trafford, thousands of fans gathered here holding up a portrait of Liu Yi. Your Majesty the Demon King, bring victory and glory back to Manchester. Episode 80. Chelsea deserve to be the champions of Europe and the top team in the Premier League. When Liu Yi uses the game to simulate the game, it is easier to win, but it is really difficult to keep a clean sheet against the opponent. For a whole night, Liu Yi didn't know how many times he had read the file, and finally got a relatively satisfactory result, and the players under the game would always inexplicably lead to the loss of the ball. As a result, in the next day's training class, Liu Yi has not been in a high mood, which makes his players also tremble and do not know why the boss is unhappy. At the same time, Liu Yi punished Bailey for running 5,000 meters, because he entered the locker room first with his left foot. Although Bailey is inexplicable, Liu Yi's reason is to improve his physical fitness, which is absolutely impossible to oppose, so a bitter haha person goes to run the circle. At this point, everyone is more and more worried, the training is more and more hard and focused, and no one dares to do things casually. However, Verony, last night seriously practiced a side of the 8 Dan Jean. After practicing really feels some changes in the body. Today the feeling is more obvious. In the confrontation with Rashford, Martial and even Maguire, he has shown ease. The faint pain in his knees, the disappearance of the night without a trace, made him feel like he had returned to 5 years ago, when he was full of vigor and spirit. "Boss, my legs seem to be a little better than before." Darren especially ran to Liu Yi and said how he feels now, but also to Liu Yi, "You can let me take more responsibility." Of course, it is good. Last night Liu Yi confirmed the attributes of Veroni before going to bed, and now he is already an enhanced version of the previous one, and has changed from a half-glass man to a tough guy who is resistant to exercise. "Of course it's better, the way I give you training, but it's carefully considered." Liu Yi patted Veroni's shoulder, indicating that everything was in his control. He only needed to play with peace of mind, and everything else was left to him. When laying out the tactics against Chelsea, perhaps seeing Liu Yi good talk, Phelan put forward his own opinion. "I think we should be on the defensive, and only solid defense can bring at least 1 point." Hearing this, Liu Yi couldn't help but frown. How come these people still don't know if they are the kind of people who stick to 1 point? Chelsea this season is too strong. We should fight not to lose points, and then fight with Tottenham, Arsenal and other teams, to fight for a top 4. The more you talk about it, the more outrageous. When is it, and go to the third brother Arsenal to grab the top 4, is it easy for the third brother? Shut up. Liu Yi respected the former Ferran and provided a lot of help around Sir, which can also be regarded as a contribution to Manchester United. But one of the problems with this gang is that they tend to rely on the old and sell the old, and look down on people like themselves who have no experience with Manchester United. Just like now, Phelan has not noticed at all that the layout of his head coach these days, as well as the transformation of the team, is self-conscious of his own set. Already 59 years old, 60 years old, should enjoy the good life of old age instead of suffering on the court. Hearing Liu Yi unceremoniously interrupt himself, Phelan looked at him with some surprise. This young man secretly attacked a 59-year-old comrade. Carrick couldn't help but bow his head. When Liu Yi stopped Phelan from continuing, he knew that the old man's time here would not be too long. Without paying attention to Phelan's gaze, Liu Yi's gaze swept over everyone else. "People who feel we should defend raise their hands." Tens of seconds passed, no one chose to raise their hands. Phelan's face turned pale. He never expected that Liu Yi's prestige in the locker room had reached such a point. Some of them sat back down, looked down at the tactical board in their hands, and felt a little fierce in their hearts. "And when you suffered a loss, you would know that I was right." "Very good. It seems that everyone thinks that we should play our own football and support and agree with my point of view." Liu Yi nodded satisfactorily, and then began to arrange the team's tactical training, because recently everyone has performed so well that he has a happy annoyance in the selection of personnel. "In the next game, we play 442, mainly in midfield and Chelsea. The front and defenders should pay attention to cooperation." Everyone pricked up their ears and began to listen carefully, looking at the tactical board in front of them to make sure they couldn't make mistakes. There were also no translators in the locker room, and Liu Yi could use the language they were familiar with to communicate directly with the players to ensure that they understood their intentions. After more than an hour, the players all understood Liu Yi's spirit, without any doubts. Liu Yi clapped his hands and signaled everyone to focus their attention on himself again. There is a famous saying that everyone should have heard: offense wins the game, defense wins the championship. Everyone nodded their heads, indicating that they had heard this sentence, and felt that there was nothing wrong with it. Of course there's nothing wrong with that, but in our place, we're going to win with offense, win championships and win hearts and minds. Now disband, each going to the group cooperation training. Carrick was in charge of the daily training, and he knew that there were some things that he had to do immediately, otherwise it was estimated that it would not be long before he would be just like McKenna and them, and he would be directly cleaned out. Back in the office, Liu Yi directly dialed Santacuco's phone. "Hello, dear Liu, is there anything I can do for you?" Sandezi's words should be more enthusiastic, and the fans who scolded him before now praised him for choosing Liu Yi. Sponsors rushed up, making Santacuco hesitate whether she was really going to retire. "Ed, I don't think McKenna and Ferran meet my assistant coach's requirements." Sandezi instantly understood what Liu Yi meant, and McKenna's things were easy to say, but after all, Phelan was an old minister in the Sir period. Should he give face? "Liu, I promise McKenna won't be in front of you, but Ferran isn't." "Ed, that's your business, as long as he's not my assistant coach." Liu Yi has decided to rehire several coaches and build a team for himself. Naturally he can't let these continue to exist around him.